Hello and welcome to my review of the LS2 Pioneer MX436.
I've bought this helmet last summer and since then I've been riding about 3,000 kilometers or 1,900 miles wearing it. During that time I took it on an awesome adventure trip to Romania where I had the chance to experience the Pioneer in a range of different scenarios. In this video I want to share my experiences with the helmet with you. I'd describe the Pioneer MX436 as a classical dual sports or adventure helmet, featuring a visor with a very wide field of vision. Although LS2 claim that the visor is optically correct, I'd say it's not 100% optically perfect. Nevertheless, it has never irritated me and I wouldn't even have noticed it if it hadn't been pointed out to me by other riders. It features a drop-down sun visor which works very well, even with glasses. Generally speaking, the Pioneer helmet is very suitable for using it with glasses.
No problem at all, even with the sun visor.
Although I personally prefer a double D-ring, the ratchet strap appears to be very well made and can be operated using only one hand. The airflow of the helmet is incredibly good, which is no surprise considering the multitude of air vents. There's a big central chin inlet, one inlet each side alongside your jawbone, two on your forehead, two outer and one central outlet at the back of your head, and two outlets over the base of your skull. The central chin inlet is the only air vent which can be opened and closed. This works very well, even with thicker motorcycle gloves. I personally like the edgy look of the helmet, but as always it's purely a matter of taste. The Pioneer MX436 comes in a range of different colors and graphics. I will put the link to the LS2 homepage in the description below.
Enough talk!
Okay, let's see how it does in the field. Let's start with the things I like about the helmet. On our journey to Romania we avoided motorways and mainly rode on country roads, reaching from bigger main roads to small byroads. The Pioneer works very well in such conditions. The aerodynamics are surprisingly good for an off-road helmet, especially in this price bracket. Cruising at 90 km per hour or about 56 miles per hour, there is hardly any lift or downforce, and even when turning your head the forces experienced are not much worse compared to a street helmet. You can fine-tune the aerodynamic properties of the helmet by fiddling with the adjustable peak and make it fit your individual riding position. The chin strap is comfortable to wear and doesn't rub or scratch against your throat. The ventilation is amazing and I appreciate the excellent airflow, especially if it's hot and dry. When things get twisty, the wide field of vision shows its advantages. Especially in tight hairpins, it is a lot easier for you to take a glaze over your shoulder mid-corner, aiming for the apex or the exit of the corner. When entering a fast set of bends, it helps you better anticipating the future course of the road and spotting oncoming vehicles earlier. Unsurprisingly, when riding off-road, the wide field of vision doesn't hurt either. Especially in fast sections where you're constantly switching your focus between looking far ahead and avoiding obstacle stones and gutters right in front of you, it comes in very handy. The visor seals tight and even on sandy roads when riding behind my mates I never had any problems with sand or dust coming inside the helmet. We experienced very hot conditions and as long as you're riding comparatively swift, the airflow of the air vents is by far sufficient to keep you cool. Only if you're really pinning it and therefore have to work harder, you start to crave for off-road goggles instead of the visor. Luckily the Pioneer helmet allows you to wear goggles even without dismounting the visor. You simply keep the visor open and put your goggles on. Because I wanted to keep my luggage to a bare minimum, I opted for another solution. In sunny weather I would simply open my visor and use the sun visor to protect my precious eyesight against flung up stones, dust, suicidal insects and other objects. Of course this meant that my face was covered in dust from the eyes down, temporarily giving me the full beard I've always wanted. The only downside was that dust would get into the mechanism of the sun visor. This meant that the sun visor got sluggish and hard to operate from time to time. After carefully moving the sun visor up and down several times, the dust trickled off and the mechanism was smooth again. My ingenious open visor method only reached its limits when things got far more technical and less sunny, so that I couldn't use the sun visor anymore. Riding up a very steep trail, heavily breathing, with the visor closed while shitting my pants because allegedly there are bears in the area, left me craving for off-road goggles. Particularly as the visor is either fully open or closed and has no intermediate steps allowing you to just open it as wide as a finger. But as said before, this is not the helmet's but purely my fault for not bringing off-road goggles with me. By the way, luckily we never encountered any bears, and what awaited us at the top of the hill was absolutely breathtaking. But that's a different story. Another thing worth mentioning is that despite it's not made from fiberglass, but from a special blend of polycarbonate, the LS2 Pioneer is a fairly light helmet, coming in at about 1300 grams in XS. That's including the visor and the sun visor. And now... things I don't like about the helmet. Of course, the outstanding airflow is brilliant in hot weather, but as mentioned earlier, the central chin inlet is the only air vent which can be closed. This means that all the other air vents remain open, no matter what. As you can imagine, in cold weather that's not very helpful. Closing the chin inlet helps, but there's still cold air rushing in through all the other vents. Especially at high altitude in the evening, or early in the morning in a narrow valley alongside the river, before the sun had the chance to warm things up, it can get chilly inside the helmet. We were lucky and didn't experience heavy rain, but other riders report that in heavy rain, water will enter the helmet through the air vents and you will end up with a damp head. Furthermore, the helmet doesn't come with a pinlock visor. This means that in cold or humid conditions, and with the visor closed at low speeds, the visor starts to fog up despite its anti-fog coating, as you can clearly see in this action-packed freeze frame. But what annoyed me most about the LS2 Pioneer is that above 110 km per hour, or about 68 miles per hour, it is unbearably loud. On my last day in Romania, I had the dubious pleasure to infect myself with the bastard of a virus, which made me ride like Graham Jarvis and Valentino Rossi combined when it came to reaching the next toilet in time, and made kick-starting my bike a nerve-wracking task. Accordingly, I was quite eager to get home quickly and tried to get good progress by hitting the motorway back home. I didn't bring earplugs with me because I hadn't planned on using the motorway. Everything above 110 km per hour or 68 miles per hour was so loud that I seriously was afraid to cause harm to my eardrums. I improvised earplugs by cramming wet handkerchiefs into my ears, and only this made the journey back home tolerable. And yes, that was the only orifice where I used this technique. I've read that by blocking the lateral front inlets, the Pioneer will become a good deal quieter. I didn't have the chance to test this yet, but I've experimented with blocking them with my hand, and I've got to say it really works. It's still no touring helmet, but much better than before. Maybe I will make a follow-up video and report back to you with a better solution. Despite the noise, the aerodynamics are fine at such speed, and there is still hardly any lift or downforce. Another minor flaw is that the visor is chafing against the peak when fully open. This leads to small scratches on the visor. They don't affect my view when wearing the helmet, but are noticeable and annoying when looking at the helmet. Nevertheless, I'm sure there's an easy MacGyver fix for the problem, including sandpaper and some felt tape. Again, something for a potential follow-up video. I never had any complaints about the lining of the helmet, but apparently some riders didn't like it. Generally, LS2 make a great effort to consider customer feedback and implement improvements continuously. In this case, they improved the lining of the helmet mid-production. My mate Max, check out his DR650 rebuild video, bought himself a Pioneer helmet a few months after I purchased mine, and I've got to admit that the materials and perceived quality of his lining is way better than mine. So, in conclusion, should you buy one? If you're planning to take your BMW GS or KTM Adventure on a trip across the Alps on paved roads including long stretches of motorway during your journey to the mountains, then don't buy the LS2 Pioneer MX436 or you will be deaf by the time you arrive at the Alps. However, if you're going to ride mainly country roads and off-road, or if you're a weekend warrior who simply wants a versatile helmet to enjoy the occasional trail blasting, or if you're simply looking for a second helmet for daily use in hot conditions and don't want to go all wasps in your face jet helmet, then the Pioneer is a great choice for you. And it's great value for money. If you're lucky, you can buy one of these for around 120 euros. That's about $135, 105 British pounds or 317,000 Mongolian Tughrik. I'm very happy with the helmet, and value for money wise I have never seen a better dual sports helmet in this price bracket, making the LS2 Pioneer a great choice. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more videos to come. A big and thank you for watching. Ride safe, Lucas is out.